here as we head into Pixel.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest was the underdogs for a lot of last split's playoff run as well.
Yeah.
And you heard them kind of referencing at the top of the day. They had 12K gold leads for C9 in some of those losses that FlyQuest ended up taking from them. And that was a roster that didn't quite have as much experience without Sven helping guide the team. And the Shrimp and Keen days that were very much the focal point for FlyQuest strategies are gone. And we were kind of criticizing them in the quarterfinals for maybe lacking some firepower, but the LeBlanc from Peckenwolf brought it.
I think the craziest thing would be the moons align. We see those 9K gold leads again by C9 Academy, but now FlyQuest FlyQuest's Academy team starts doing some crazy backdooring to finish games, and you're like, wait, that's supposed to be the LCS team. What is this?
We'll see how much overlap the two teams have.
Brum, Morgana, Bandao, Akali, and Kindred. We saw Aatrox being left up a little bit yesterday. It was interesting. Nocturne, that might be the Aatrox. We'll see. There he is.
Yeah, the Aatrox, split opinions on it now. A lot of people think still very lane dominant, but struggles a little bit more in the mid to late games. But if you're kind of heading in on 8-16, not sure exactly what you want to do, it is a 5-game series. You can keep things a little bit more standard and then branch out from there. Rakan was a champion we're talking about. Got some really, depending on how aggressive you go in lane, slight or large nerfs, 30 base HP and 3 armor, I believe it was, which, reading a lot of auto attacks, actually hurts a fair amount.
Kai'Sa. All right, so a little bit of that dive in. Is there will be a Galio to follow this? Such a crazy composition we saw.
Yeah.
Last time they used it.
I am surprised to see the high priority on Kai'Sa. I mean, Keith has been playing very well on it, and Ari wants to take that one away from him, but it does feel like a bit of a reach. And they combo with the Alistar. Tom Kench on 8-16, if you missed it, got pretty hefty nerf to his W cooldown, which makes his supportive play style not nearly as effective. And
it can't be mini Malphite as much.
And this is why I was surprised to see the reach on the Kai'Sa, because it felt like it was supposed to be a takeaway, but of course C9 can just fall back to the Xayah Rakan, which is something they've played a lot of to very good success.
That's a scary 1-2-3 coming in from Cloud9. A lot of initiation to pick off one person and not have any follow-up with that pillar being in the way. How can we answer here? So far, so matched if they go for a jungler.
Yep, jungler if they want.
There it is.
Of course, the kind of standard counter picks the Trundle at this point, the Graves.
Yep.
Talked about it ad nauseum. You clear faster, your range, you get to hit him when he can't hit you, and then you try and control him. I mean, that's basically the matchup. There's a lot more nuance to it, of course, but we've talked enough about Trundle versus Graves. We saw it like 3 or 4 times yesterday.
So mid lanes could get a bit of focus here, and we will start. Golden Glue gets hit. Zoe ban. We might see the LeBlanc from Peckenwolf.
Yeah, Zoe was also nerfed on this patch, and we didn't see it for very long yesterday, but there was actually a game by Insanity busting it out, and still one-shotting people with no AP items bought, just some magic pen, and the other guy having no MR was enough at level 9 to blow somebody up. So you can see teams are still rightfully scared of Zoe.
Horn taken away from No. Can see that.
Yeah, I mean, No did play all those carry champions, which we kind of mentioned, but he actually lost 2 of those 3 games with the only victory coming on Rumble, which as a tank player is more akin to the playstyle because you're just still a team fighter, whereas Jace and those things are not really looking at team fight at all. So it's no surprise that of the carries that he played, the more team-oriented one was the champion he found the victory with.
They care about Peckenwolf on this. That LeBlanc actually gets banned over towards Golden Glue, so he hits his champion pool with being comfortable about what that matchup would be anyways, and it is going to be towards No once more.
Well, we'll see what they do here because we talked about Peckenwolf kind of having his style of champions. Corki being one that we actually saw busted out yesterday that did super well, so maybe we'll see some more Corki out of Peckenwolf, but he has his couple of champions that are in his wheelhouse that he's super good with. And then we didn't expect to see him branch out as much. He obviously proved us wrong with the LeBlanc in the previous series, but feels like he might be going back to more comfort, like the Orianna, like the Ryze, or the Corki. Looks like we'll wait and see, though.
All right. Scion charging down the lane for No. Unless Peckenwolf does something crazy here and just goes Roar the Slayer in mid lane and pushes his lane in. It's going to be crazy. But I think it's going top lane, and Peckenwolf is going to give himself the counter pick on red side. Keith looks for the Ashe Arrow, a whole lot of initiation from Cloud9 here. They can choose anything. They may still lock in that Ashe. They have the Rise for a little bit of safety and map play as well.
Yep. We'll see, though. Most likely going to be a top laner here. It could be a top lane,
you're right. They have the Xayah.
Yeah, they have the Xayah already. Plenty of initiation, though, with the Rakan to help things out. Shen going top would be interesting. It looks like that's what's going to be the case. Haven't seen the Ninja in too long, but also haven't seen the Scion, so
just more safety in the initiation.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking maybe there'd be some counter picks up to the top side with Shiro, usually kind of preferring the fighter and more aggressive play styles than the Shen, and the Rise is something we have seen flexed up to the top lane a fair amount in the most recent patches. So I thought that initially, but whoa!
Aurelion Sol for Peckenwolf to come in here. First game of the series from FlyQuest Academy, as they lock in Scion and the Aurelion Sol. So these guys can be off the map down mid lane and both come out of nowhere. You better be ready.
Yeah, it feels like a 5-man bot lane party, and then you factor in the Rise with the global or relative global ultimate and the Shen with the true global ultimate. You could see post 6 people going bot lane all the time, and that's really the only place it feels like any team wants to go, because you're not really going to gank the Aurelion Sol lane. The Scion, you can maybe go up there early on, but otherwise you're not really snowballing against a Shen with a Scion, so that feels a little bit like a waste of time. And suddenly both teams have extremely telegraphed game plans about fighting around Xayah Rakan, as well as the Kai'Sa and the Owls.
And we questioned the Kai'Sa pick a little bit more. It was the first with Xayah up, and now you have to dive into a Rise. You have to dive into a possible quickness if Rakan hasn't used it, a Shen taunt. That's going to be really tough for him to make any kind of gap closing moves.
It's a curious situation to be in, because most of the time we say Kai'Sa is going to be kind of the omnipotent late game scaling champion, but the Aurelion Sol generally drops off. Rise can potentially outscale that, and so feels like a fair amount of this will come down to execution. Both teams having very strong front-to-back team fighting team comps for the most part.
I like it. Kind of stretching themselves a little bit outside the box here to say, let's really feel the waters out in the first game, but feel confident about it. If Eric can carry on this, there's a lot of confidence that carries through in the entire series here with the composition he goes against. I'll have to see FlyQuest wanting to come in and take this game again. Take the entire Academy split again. If they can. Now they have to do it up against Cloud9 in the semifinals one more time. Maybe more in the future, but we're here and right now.
So much to prove for both these lineups.
Really
Obviously, C9, with their disappointing end to last split, want revenge for FlyQuest for making that happen. And the guys on FlyQuest want to prove that they did not get carried by Keen and Shrimp, which is what everyone kind of holds against this team, and that they themselves were large factors in that banner that they were able to hang up at the end of last split.
Nice banner too. Spot right between the LCS teams.
Snug.
Feel good if you can double that up. See, the starts are ignites for a good fight bot lane with heals as we expect. Teleport and to cleanse on the mid laner. Golden Glue getting hit, may have to use that flash here to start. And it will actually, as Fang comes in from the right, but undeterred is FlyQuest Academy, so they may actually be coming to start things off towards that mid lane.
Yeah, not bad at all. You get a free flash, and you know, we say you don't typically gank for Aurelion Sol, and the Graves not having CC isn't the ideal situation, but he does have a stun that he can kind of shoot out there at level 2 to really set this up. So Peckenwolf might actually call for some early attention by Meteos, combined with the fact that you have the better tempo jungler, you have the much stronger wave clear and tempo mid laner, as you see how quickly Peckenwolf can clear out that mid wave, and they have the potential here for FlyQuest to absolutely control the entire early game.
Wowzer. It's going to feel really good for Peckenwolf, especially hitting the level 2, so they may get that stun when the next wave is meeting up, and that happens. See what Meteos' path is. They may say, cool, just use that advantage. My path is Graves being strong as well. It can knock out Svenskeren, so we'll keep on that. And Golden Glue will know to play safe, so you can't go too hard on it. Pushed into his wave, or turret once again with that wave, and Peckenwolf doing what he can to get those out of there as soon as possible. Get down to the Raptor side.
Yep, looks like gonna work down on this. They did have a ward, it looks like, in that top river, so they know where Trundle was. I think they were considering a red buff invade in Steel. We'll see if they continue to go for it, or if Peckenwolf will back after this wave. There you see the Aurelion Soul gameplay. And so what usually you do after this cannon wave and you hit 3 is you'll be out of mana, you used all your corrupting pot ticks, and at level 3 you take your escape velocity, so you'll back, go in, shop, usually get some kind of boots or something to work with your corrupting pot, and then you use your E that you just got scaled up on that wave to go back to mid lane. And that's really when you start pressuring the map the most. Your first 3 corrupting pot charges and waves are just used about pushing in and getting that advantage.
It reminds me of Morgana in the mid lane. You just sit there and farm. It's Snorgana and Snorelian Soul now. You gotta rename.
I wonder if there's a better... Snorelian Soul didn't quite roll off the tongue as well.
I'm glad you considered it.
Yeah,
it'll be the 1 in the morning. You'll be sitting in bed and come up with it. Let me know. Just hit me up on Slack.
Yeah, I'll make sure I wake you up at 5 a.m.
3.5 on the clock. It looks like Golden Glue feels pretty comfortable to be out in lane, trying to put a little pressure on the Peckenwolf at least. And that vision is starting to come out from FlyQuest here, so they'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable on the map. But how comfortable in countering this gank on the bot side? Doesn't look like Meteos is there, but he might be in time.
Yeah, I think Svenskeren more just kind of escorting this wave in with the team. Goes in behind them as they get this. They're a little extended. They have a little bit of vision control, but he finished this as jungle clear for the most part and just wants to recall in a spot where he can contribute if something does happen down there. It doesn't, of course, though, so Svenskeren goes back to base, and we're back looking at the farm in the mid lane. Ooh, just wide.
Good. Thought he was going to get a bigger end of the line damage in. A nice pulverize, but how much did Quan actually want that? Stunned up, down to 200 HP, Ignite and Flash, along with the heal from Ares. So Summoner's blown for 3 for 1 in the bot lane. No kills, though.
That was a really nice punish by C9A Academy's bot lane. Quan saw the opportunity for a double pulverize and takes it, which feels good at first, but now you need to get out still, and that's when Xayah's feather gameplay, as you heard them talking a fair amount in her release, is at her best because you have to run back through all those feathers that are behind you, and you can kind of get the chain CC with Fang as well being able to contribute. Now Quan down a lot of summoners, just the Ignite out of C9.
More scuttle control for Svenskeren. He has not been seen in lane too much. Golden Glue has been able to stay safe, though, so they're not really calling him cheap pressure in that sense. 5 minutes on the clock, and that gold lead of CS is slightly in favor of Cloud9 at the moment.
Yep, just some small advantages as Meteos' first gank in the mid lane was just off as Peckenwolf missed the ult, or the stun from the Q. And we'll see what he tries to do with these roams, because it's the part of the game where you want to see Aurelion Soul start taking it over. I mean, you can always go earlier than that. We've seen Huhi said there is no time too soon to show up in a different lane.
Come right over, Tri-Brush, fly over the wall under turret. You're in there. So it looks like he wants to stay in lane. He says, no, I got wards on both sides. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to farm, and that allows him as well to farm in this kind of horizontal position where you
it's one of those
top of your opponent.
Things you often do is you'll have vision control on one side and you try and sit on that side of the wave where you know there is nobody. Hold on here. No flash still.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Nice headbutt.
Flip back and forth. Yeah, headbutts himself to get out of the entrance so he doesn't get knocked up. And he saves himself quite a bit without any summoners. So he really had to play that one smart. But we see Cloud9 now trying to activate little things across the map to find even more leads as FlyQuest skirts just around that damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that FlyQuest early game should definitely be in their favor with how much tempo their mid and jungle should have up on their counterparts. But the bot lane is just winning on its own, top lane's winning on its own, and so it will very quickly fall on FlyQuest Academy's mid-jungle duo to make something happen to kind of break up the current trajectory this game is on.
Nicely played by Meteos. Bot side of the map warded up and covered by Cloud9. They did not know what's going on towards the top here, so that means this might get tough for Golden Glue to build that tier up. Peckenwolf can pick his blue up on the other side of the map. Push down on the bot side again as Svenskeren's kind of playing I wonder if Meteos is here game.
It's going to be a little hard to secure their own blue buff if C9 choose to rotate over. They have complete bot lane control. Not looking for the blue buff to start, though. Might just be a dive on the bot side.
Oh, there's a pulverize. The CC's down for Quan. Now he can easily go for Airy, the AD carry. Quan's trying to get himself to safety as No and Shiro are going to be coming into the fight. Fang, one last shot. Oh, Stand United keeps him alive. And they're going to be able to take down Quan. Here's Peckinwolf and No now as they get into the lane. And now Peckinwolf wants to be on the forefront. Lots of low health bars, but he cannot solidify a kill on any one of them. Great plays by Cloud9.
Yeah, huge see the first dive. Hold on, little...
Almost not done.
Cute little trade to say, I see you. Hit him up.
Who had the last say there.
Yeah, and that's a huge play by C9. The fact that we're talking about this tempo that the other team should have an advantage in, and you actually get down there to cover it, and with the TP advantage for Shen being able to global ult down, actually comes up and gets back up to the top side to continue pushing. Huge play for Cloud9 Academy, already springing out to a 1,500 gold lead. Golden Glue's got to be careful, though. He is overextended in the mid lane.
That flash is back up. Might need to use it on cooldown, and he is going to. He's just out. I can farm. I have flash. That's the consideration right now.
Definitely some greed by Golden Glue. Has his flash up. They finish the bot lane play. And he says, you know what? I think I want to get a little bit more farm before I reset after that play. Enemy team comes back on the map after dying, and Golden Glue's way too far up in that lane. So very quickly punished for that decision. I think he wanted his catalyst before backing.
And that was a well-activated play. If you look on the side of FlyQuest Academy, a lot of summoners are coming up now and just being up as they were just sure. And look, they want to make a play off of this too, but Meteos is going to hatch that ward in the back. They've seen him. It fizzles out a little bit, but I don't know how much they're going to stop with Peckinwolf right over the edge. He's coming out of the woodwork right now with no vision there for C9, so they have to be a bit worried. And it looks like they're going to be real worried in this not activating right away.
No, it looks like the minion wave got cleared out just a little too well by C9 Academy's bot lane, and they didn't have the time to wait for another wave. Golden Glue and Svenskeren were kind of hovering around the Raptor pit. They saw them there. They called a dive off, which is ultimately the right call.
Got to remember the Realm Warp.
Oh yeah, you can always make some distance close very quickly with that. And Sven's still hovering on the bot lane. We talked about how both these comps are going to want to go bot lane a lot, and the fact that C9 seems like they are working better around their bot lane. That dive on the bot side that they orchestrated for themselves worked very well with a large minion wave, and when FlyQuest took their time using their tempo advantage to try and make the play, the minion wave was killed out. Part of that's due to Xayah just having better wave clear, but it's also better coordination on C9's side. And here we go once again, probably. Still not 6 on
Oh
one.
My word, everybody's moving on this. Look at the mini-map as FlyQuest tries to come down here to counterattack this. Fang gets knocked out. Quan throwing down the ultimate as Ares stays alive, and this can go bad for Cloud9. FlyQuest starts to turn the tables. Svenskeren in the hot pot now, and he gets taken down as Cloud9 try to rinse and repeat and get washed away.
Really big play by Quan there to stall that dive out. They split their focus on C9's side after the pulverize, and then they just are not able to find any kill fast enough for the collapse to come in from Meteos and Peckinwolf. Instantly punishing that, gets the goal lead back in their favor, and they're going to be able to look at this Drake.
And look at this. Shiro's Stand United is up now, just about now. So if you waited a bit longer, I mean, that play looked a lot better when you had teleports and a Stand United. Looks like FlyQuest was able to kind of skirt through the window that was open on this one. Even up a bit of that game, and now Mountain Drake, the first one of the game, in their favor. Let's see it again.
I still gotta say, even without the Shen ult, this still looks like a pretty good dive if they get right onto Airy or Quan. But Quan hits a huge double pulverize on Fang right as he used his Rakan ultimate, completely stalled out the dual lane of C9 from being able to meet up with Svenskeren and Golden Glue, who then get kited out by Airy as the rest of the team kind of collapse. If that's a clean engage by Fang where he gets one of those really snappy Rakan ults off, that fight's a 2-for-0 instantly, but really well played by FlyQuest to deter that.
Says, not this time, not my slumber party. Quan feels good about that. A lot of the summoner exchanged again as well. Fang's waiting for his. There's that heal and flash again was used for Airy to keep him up. Cloud9 still pressure. They say, yeah, you know, we'll get the bottom lane. We'll do it this time without losing too much. They have the lead, 9.6 to 8, or 19.6 to 18.4. Svenskeren and Meteos do a bit of a dance here in the jungle. So much pressure. I mean, you called it, Mark, coming into this. The other lanes didn't really show that much gank ability, and the pressure pressure in the bot lane has been on fire from the get-go.
Yeah, and despite the fact that FlyQuest did a great job deterring that dive from happening, you can see that the actual lane status did not change at all. Keith and Fang with the Zyra Con lane still had complete control of it. Sven made his way down there, but they were obviously a little bit more gun-shy about the dive and instead just focused down the objective, taking their first turret of the game. And now comes the rotation game as Keith and Fang will move up to the top side, and we're going to have to see if FlyQuest can kind of stop them from rinse and repeating what we saw in the bot lane for the last 10 minutes.
Titanic finish for Shiro. Frozen Heart for No in their first core items. We've got the Merc Treads for both Golden Glue and Peck and Wolf in a game of dangerous ability power and crowd control.
Uh-oh.
Meteos maybe getting a little too close for comfort here. Grand entrance locks him up. Flash into the wall. The sun was in his eyes, and he goes down to Fang. There's No under the turret by himself here. He is going to have Quan. Two Bass brothers under the turret are going to be very hard to dive. And they may have Ares Kaisa in just a few seconds. C9's happy with what they got in that advantage, and they'll go ahead and start to disperse around the map.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to turn their attention on the Rift Herald after taking the enemy jungler on the map, feeling like the smite will be not contested as actually there's now enough pressure with Ares showing.
Whoa, Shelly, slow down.
Shelly remembers things, man. You hit her once, she'll chase you to the ends of the earth.
Jeez. All right, we're good. Home and safe. A little ward clearage here. I think we're going to get a lot more pressure now on the top side of the map. That bottom turret down does spell that. And in comes Meteos from the base. We're going to see Sven Skaren going down as Quan living with that ult on. Why is he the main focus for Cloud9? In so many of these fights, Fang now going to be taken down here. He was kind of their only target, but there were others. There were others.
Really lackadaisical by C9. Felt like they got really caught in their comms. You saw people running different ways, crisscrossing each other in the river. Not sure if they want a scuttle crab or if they want to go after Quan. And then Quan gets a nice headbutt pulse combo to his ult and just kind of runs at Keith to force him out of the fight. And they've already chunked out Sven Skaren. So Quan's able to flash out, stay alive. Golden Glue behind the Aurelion Soul to not be able to collapse at all. And just another big mistake by C9 Academy. Being a little too not clean enough in their comms and their decision making.
Quan just making himself a wall. Great job so far. Looks like his items are actually still going towards mobility as he builds up and finishes that Sightstone for himself, or item I should say. Not Equinox anymore. So many names.
Oasis? What is it called? I forget.
See, you try. It's like doing math on stream. Stay away.
I could always hover over items, but
sure.
Oh, I'm not gonna. At this point, I'll just accept I'm wrong.
Fang is still making his way towards the top side with Keith. The ward wars continue. Looks like Quan will win this one. One more. Do it. Place it. No, he doesn't. All right. It doesn't look like they're gonna get the dive. FlyQuest do not want to give up this top side easy.
It's a very peculiar game where C9 has pressure and are playing well, but they keep making mistakes, which then gives FlyQuest some kills back and objectives. They also got the Rift Herald after C9 messed up their play around the top side. So despite the fact that C9 keep pushing them in, they have to be worried about these kinds of things.
Surfing Soul coming over the wall. Shiro with a nice flash. Disperses that engage. Fang could get a killer instinct, but it looks like they're going to hold off on this one as he gets a quick heal from that Q. Good chase down where the Slayer misses, as there is just so much scattered action around the map. Both of the top laners in Shiro and No can stop each other's teleports. You can get that for Peck and Wolf onto Golden Glue as well, but his teleport is down, so everybody has to have very strict and tight communication right now to know, hey, I'm teleporting in, can't be stopped. Can you get here? Is Nose up? Because of all this action that's going on, fights are breaking out here and there. They're stopping, but I'm sure they're going to be clicking very soon to fall into kills for a favorite one of these teams.
Feels like C9 have kind of learned their lesson and want to hang out till the Shen is ultimate back available. A lot of those fights going bad when they cannot save whoever gets the primary focus out of FlyQuest Academy, as well as the fact that a couple of times FlyQuest have been able to kind of rotate faster, or fast enough at least to respond to what C9 wants to do. A lot of that coming down to the fact that they have this Aurelion Soul in the mid lane, now with 2 of the kills.
It's what you said earlier, is that they start hesitating. It's that they want the turret, and then you see Meteos on the side, and like, ooh, shiny Meteos. The turret is no longer our vision. And then they kind of get nothing out of the situation. Here, been kind of waiting for that next Mountain Drake. 2 for FlyQuest, be a little too much for this team. They're gonna go ahead and even up that scenario. Mid lane does have a chance to be pushed, and FlyQuest has that Rift Herald that's sitting patiently, but now on 3/4 cooldown, so they gotta do something with it.
Expecting to see Meteos kind of just go into one of these lanes and drop it. We'll see if it's mid lane here. But like you said, time is running out, and they don't really have pressure in any 3 of their lanes. All 3 are kind of getting pushed in. It's not necessarily manifesting into CS leads everywhere, as Golden Glue is down a little bit. But it is resulting in a situation where FlyQuest has a tough time making plays happen when all of them are kind of on their side on the map.
Has a lot of vision right now by FlyQuest. What is kind of the next move for either team here at the moment? We're stalling out with those turret pushes. Vision is obviously a way to get ahead, but what do you kind of see being that foot in the door for either team in that next move?
It's a little tough because if I'm thinking about FlyQuest side, it feels like their window when they have the big advantage is already kind of gone. A lot of that came down to the fact that their 2v2 did not work out. Here, Meteos with the Rift Herald, like you said, just going to kind of drop into mid lane and hope to get some kind of push off with it. And it might actually work, as a lot of Cloud9 seems preoccupied with the blue buff.
The low turret.
Yeah, this might actually get them a kill.
Oh, wow. I think that was just like really close.
That'd be right on it almost, yeah. Oh, got close enough to get the next one off.
Oh, jeez.
Let's go, Shelly.
Angry Shelly. Good shot by Golden Glue. FlyQuest a little short with vision on that side, so they couldn't get behind to guard it for a second one, but got to be happy with that pressure as well to not have to do too much work for Shelly to get through 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest is playing them tight. Not much of a goal difference at this point in the game.
He's just hanging out. Follow me into the pit.
I have an E to get over a wall, and you don't. Frundle.
Just kind of stringing him along for a wild goose chase.
Yeah, the FlyQuest, after that push, you know, I'm not quite sure what their next move is, because it still feels like Shiro keeps pushing in the Scion up in the top lane, just winning a lot of these trades. Shield goes off, start hitting him with your Titanic Hydra. And his wave clear is really strong with that as well, so that's not going to be a lane that they gank that easily. Maybe they can make it work. Peckinwolf decides to give it a go.
Through the terrain and bringing that pain. Here comes Peckinwolf. Shiro knows he's dead. What can the team get out of it? Fast movement now by Cloud9 towards the top side. Shiro making himself live for a bit. Smashes on the, dodges the demolish. Could get a hit.
Oh.
Goes down though with the last autos and the strikes coming in from Peckinwolf. The top lane pressure has got the turret kind of segregated from the team, but are they able to take it out? Again, they went past the turret, the minions were cleared, and now it's taking a little bit longer once again. Focus onto that objective now as they drop it quick.
And still an advantage for the side of C9 as they get a turret for a kill, as Golden Glue might be out of position though.
Stunned up, seeing stars, also gets hit with Killer Instinct, gonna have to drop back in, flashes in, and he gets the Realm Warp out with a sliver of health. What trickery coming in from Golden Glue to keep himself alive.
Baby, that was some fancy footwork by Golden Glue, running out, kiting the team. Still gets hit by the ability, but the flash back in.
Absolutely crazy. So we'll see this again, and we should go to see Golden Glue as well.
I mean, Shiro also had some pretty nice footwork to almost get out of here. The blast cone is in the middle of respawning right now. It's not yet up, and so this is actually really intelligent play. He dashes in to get inside the rings, which forces Peckinwolf to contract it, and then he gets close again, but the W cooldown comes back up, so Peckinwolf can re-expand the ring right as he got to the blast cone, which is all really smart play here. Golden Glue gets engaged on, drops the ultimate, keeps running out. Oh, he did flash the ult damage. That's why he wasn't slowed, but he took one last auto attack crit from the Storm Razor, which is why I thought he got fronted. But that flash by Golden Glue actually did dodge the ultimate by the Aurelion Soul and kept him alive. Huge play.
The one thing I thought was crazy as well is you're thinking he's trying to get into the last edge. He's going to be in the edge, and he flashed in the middle on top of both of them, making himself harder to click initially as well.
Yeah, definitely hard.
A lot of thought in that play.
Hard to react to that, just having someone flash back on top of your face. And I mean, it looked like Aerie did react well enough to get the last auto attack in, but dodging out Peckinwolf's ult is where it's going.
Baby! Quan still on that front line in a great spot. Huge entrance coming in from Fang, but can it be returned for the team's damage? There goes Quan. That's the guy that's been stalling everything out for Cloud9, and now that he's down, Can the other health bars fall just as fast? We'll see if Cloud9 can now push down mid as FlyQuest has to defend. A little bit of a 1v1 between No and Shiro as they swing noodles at each other. And Svenskaren's going to join this fight possibly. They're just trying to get a defensive wall of people over to the right. But you see the ward clear, I'm sorry, the minion clearing here from Peckinwolf and the rest of the team is making it hard for C9 to approach these turrets very quick.
Yeah, but now he's got forced back a little bit. Does walk back in. He doesn't have great line wave clear on the Aurelion Soul, but once the minions actually reach the turret and group up, they do work very well with that circular wave clear pattern. As No just continues trying to distract them, preferring that they hit him instead of objectives.
I mean, it's working. He's really being a nuisance on the outside. Kind of getting taken down slowly, but the team is looking for these as opportunities for that chance to get their foot in the door even more. It looks like mid lane in favor of Cloud9. They may now need No in this fight. They lose one immediately as Fang goes down, and Quan's going to be the next. And it is. Double kill coming in for Golden Glue as they make it fast. Now a 2-for-1. Fang happily going down for this fight from Cloud9.
Good decisiveness by C9 there. They see FlyQuest a little bit further up underneath the turret that's about to drop, and they pull the trigger, they jump in there, and they grab 2 more kills on the back end of that push. Fang did have to give his body up for it to work, though.
Yep.
So we'll see this again as Meteos wants to get one more Q off, but the pillar hits him. That sets up the W. The Shen ult comes through to try and keep Fang alive, but there's a little bit too much damage. But now Shiro's turn to kind of wrap around. The flash taunt just barely misses on Peckinwolf. I think if he landed that one extra taunt target, they might have been able to get both of them, but the way the Shen taunt works is when you interrupt the taunt with the flash, you only get the last little part of the hitbox.
You just got to land on him.
And you got to land on him. It didn't look like they were quite overlapped enough to land both of them, unfortunately.
So a big Scion now. A bit more in his utility belt so he can stay alive versus Shiro. But again, we feel like that time for FlyQuest may have passed a bit. They aren't in the lead enough here to make all of their components work. And with Keith feeling good, 1-0 for Golden Glue, 2-1 and 2, able to dodge out of a lot of what FlyQuest is reaching for. Makes the gameplay very differently now in favor of Cloud9, and it seems like FlyQuest is a little bit more timid. Quan's still in the front line of these engages, and they have a way to get in. So they have to have that follow-up now. Fang's been making it difficult, as well as Shiro and Svenskaren, to finalize these kills on Cloud9.
Yeah, I'm seeing them stand off around the Baron. Good, that's enough of the fight.
Deja vu, same spot for this fight. It's going to be Quan again in the same spot. Fang tries to play his cards again the same, but it's so red by FlyQuest this time around. Keith's over the wall, and he's followed by Peckinwolf. The last few stars clock him in the side of the head. Meteos is able to just continuously drop the rest of Cloud9 on the other side with his bullets as he reloads with the help of Airy and Golden Glue, dancing in and out. Knows what this is all about, but still cannot take the team down for Cloud9, and he has to watch FlyQuest head to Baron.
Yeah, Golden Glue's doing everything he can right now to kind of stop them from being able to convert that fight into a Baron buff. He is landing a lot of damage, but it feels like the enemy team can largely ignore him and will hit the Baron buff.
So quick. Said there was a bit of hesitation for FlyQuest, but not in those choke points. Not for that composition.
And the fact that all 5 are here at the start is huge.
Yeah.
You see the Shen down the bot lane. He's going to have to try and TP into this play. Does not have his ult back available yet, so he has to come in from the side. And a great flank by No. Gets a lot of damage down and CC onto Keith, who has to kind of ult in the middle of all that. And now he's flashing out to the top side after already losing about 70% of his HP bar. Peckinwolf follows with his own flash, and Golden Glue's just zoned away from the fight. It was a nice counter engage by Fang to kind of stop Quan from being able to set the rest of his team up. And that's how a lot of the fights have actually looked. But this is the first time that there was that extra layer of a flank by No, which is really what won the fight for them. That Scion ult landing onto Isaiah is not easy to do. You are very telegraphed that she has a get out of the jail free card button. The fact that he was able to land that is huge. And then you got the follow-up knockup from the Q. Huge play by No to win that fight.
Such a good fight as well for having Meteos on in that area. You smoke bomb this tight area. You can't walk through that. You can't attack through that. You got a guy already in your face and No. Good luck.
Both teams have great zone control through those narrow choke points.
That's true.
Trundle Pillar, Xayah Feathers all feel great. But if the enemy team is the one getting the jump on you with it, of course you want an Aurelion Soul and a Graves in those choke points as well. So It just came down to better execution in that situation with FlyQuest with Baron as a result.
I love these fights because a lot of times you can sum up a fight to, you know, the people that use their ults first. They can usually be the ones that lose because you counteracted, you're able to engage and see what happened. You know, yeah, we have the upper hand now, but these are kind of taken and the teams are winning as well with that first initiation.
Absolutely the case. I mean, if No goes flying in there and Keith reacts on time, gets out of the way of it, drops his ultimate, and everyone's trying to chase through onto a full HP Xayah with a bunch of feathers behind them, that's a, you know, death sentence almost. Yeah. But because he managed to connect it, FlyQuest are able to grab the gold lead back.
A little smoke grenade over the turret so they can't deny most of the minions. Gives FlyQuest a little extra time to do damage with this Baroned up cannon. Kablam! Last shot going down. So I like some of the champions like Thresh that can yank those guys in and get them onto the turret right away. Not too many.
Yeah, I think C9 does have some tools that they felt like defending that turret more aggressively. Yeah. Fang can always go in. Can't get a flash taunt, but it feels
a little scary at this moment.
Yeah, I think they're more on damage control. A minute left on the Baron buff and a bunch of outer turrets left means that it's quite likely FlyQuest use the rest of this Baron buff to increase their gold lead, but they will not be able to end the game unless you take one of those fights and lose it. So C9 in damage mitigation mode right now.
Yeah, the FlyQuest kind of coming out of it from the early game. Props to them for being able to weather a bit of the storm in the start. Oh my word! Quite a bit of damage. Even a Gargoyle Stone Plate there for magic resistance, and he's still taking chunks from Peckinwolf at this point. A lot of penetration there as why as he gets 3 items under his belt.
Yeah, Peckinwolf's definitely pretty online. Big. For an Aurelion Soul that did not have a snowbally early game, that's usually when you see the 5-0-3 Aurelion Souls, because they got up to the side lanes and influenced them. But this is mostly a team fighting Aurelion Soul getting all those kills, which is pretty difficult to do, especially when the enemy team has so many ways to interrupt your W. I mean, that's when you lose a lot of your DPS uptime on an Aurelion Soul, is when you get hit just barely with a Trundle Pillar. It just takes the littlest bit of CC to knock you out of the expanded W. And so the fact that he's been able to find all these kills while dealing with that and the taunts is pretty impressive by Peckinwolf.
Pings back towards the top side. Golden Glue says, I'm staying. Can you stay safe? That is the question I don't know Cloud9 can answer right away because it almost seems like it's not up to them. FlyQuest takes down Shiro as C9 is obviously trying just to let Golden Glue push right now.
Yeah, actually, they're hard committing that. Golden Glue uses Realm Warp up on the top side to get the mini wave in faster, and Keith is still pushing in the mid wave. FlyQuest recognize the situation. They've seen enough of these base races from their LCS team to know that we cannot stay in the bot lane. Their minion wave is way too far away to match. And so, once again, C9 Academy, despite losing the deaths, playing with pressure extremely well to trade up for 2 more turrets and even the gold lead. Right back up, Riv.
Yeah, the trade was impressive, right? That play can happen, and we don't know what Cloud9 is thinking. Yeah, they're obviously thinking, oh, wait, more damage control. But for them to quickly take 2 more turrets down really helps to bring that play right back on the par for where they need to be. It doesn't look so bad. FlyQuest wanting it right back in their face, though. It's great for them to get the Baron. Great for them to get that Ocean Drake as well, so No can stay out in the side lanes and just be a menace with his Warmogs and basically never go down now. But can they continue to play it slow? Without Baron, do they still have everything it takes to do what they were just doing?
I mean, with the Aurelion Soul and the range of which Xayah can collapse onto targets, they can still try and work these side lanes pretty well on the side of FlyQuest Academy. Yeah. Of course, that's equally true for C9 with the Shen and the Rise Realm Warp. Both teams have a fair amount of tools to punish anyone who's stuck out of position, so I don't expect this to be a game where there's no action for the next minute and a half, just with how many tools these guys have in their kits.
Oh, pings on the inhibitor. They say, let's go right now. Well, how much do they wait for Shiro, though? They're up there pretty fast. They don't have too much of a menu way, though, so it looks like they'll have to wait for Shiro.
Yeah, just trying to kind of force mid-priority around the mid lane, get FlyQuest corralled back into their base so that they can maybe move over to Shiro when that minion wave gets into position. It does feel like what they're aiming for, but FlyQuest is mirroring the play quite well.
1 minute on to Baron. Focus on the bottom side of the map, so this is where we will dance for now. Shiro stunned under turret. Spirit's Refuge goes down so he can stay safe. Quan goes in. A little bit of chaos from whether they wanted it or not. Backline hit. Huge damage coming in from the rest of the team as Meteos throws down the damage, but can they follow up? Svenskaren's about to be taken down.
Nice
he is the focus. And now they're looking for more members, but they've realm warped out. Cloud9 got themselves out quick, leaving Svenskeren and FlyQuest have the rift to work with.
That was a very heads-up play by Airy, hitting the blast cone. Ended up not necessarily needing to do it, but right away recognizing that's one way out of there if this goes wrong, finishes that blast cone off to get the final kill. And this is once again started by No, landing a monstrous Scion ult onto Keith, which is followed up by Pekka-Wolf's long-range engage. Fang uses his ult for zoning tools mostly, and here comes the Scion right down the middle once again, right onto Keith, hitting Shiro, half his HP gone, and then there's the damage thrown in over the top by Meteos as well with his ultimate, and it forces the 4-man disengage out of Golden Glue. Quick thinking to know that they were in a losing situation and vacate that fight, but it does cost them their jungler. And on the flip side of that, Svenskeren just respawning means most likely the second Baron of the game going to FlyQuest.
Usually with a minute towards Baron, you see teams play a little bit more temper, but Cloud9 wanted it. FlyQuest get Baron number 2. A grand entrance used as the exit here for Fang as they now lose Shiro once again. That's safety for what could be Keith. The rest of the team is down, and now FlyQuest push into the mid lane with Baron. I asked how much could they do without it? I guess we don't have to wonder for too long.
No, definitely not. We saw they could win a fight without it, and that got them the Baron again. C9A kind of walked forward, not sure if they want to contest it. Cost them their top laner's life as No connects on another Scion.
And there's extra gold for these fights where you need to reach for stopping that guy. Stopwatches here for 3 members across the board of FlyQuest if they do want to try to go a little harder here. Seems like they pull back for a moment as they are very happy with the current lead they have just got of 2.4 thousand gold.
Yeah, want to reset, spend some of that gold, and then instantly get back into side waves. They have a monstrous wave in the top, and the bot wave is still on their side of the map, so resetting will get you to those waves faster, and they can start building them back up. All the turrets still alive on the top side, surprisingly, so there's quite a bit of cleanup for this team. Still on the map. They can quickly catch back up in turrets because it's only, or get a lead in turrets because it is only 5-5 right now.
I love it. Cloud9, they're like, wait, breathing room, back out on the map. We need wards past river. We need to understand where it's coming from before it's on our side of the map so we can grab our buffs and utility, and no time is wasted there. 35 minutes coming up on the clock, and both teams have just been at each other's necks. 2 wards do sit close to Cloud9's base, which could be some detrimental teleports coming from FlyQuest Academy if you can get No in there. Svenskeren almost getting caught up, but the vision denied by C9 on this side of the map keeps them safe as they're in their own dark.
Yeah, no, but I like what C9's doing here. They pressured around the bot side of the map, getting vision control there enough that FlyQuest did not feel comfortable splitting the map. So they go and escort their minion wave down the mid lane the entire way. And this kind of stalls the game out to make sure they're not pushing up on the top side. Elder is up in 20 seconds, and so once FlyQuest start making their way into that area, you've already done the work. You've already got a ton of wards in that jungle, so you can kind of be aware of where they're positioned, if they're backing off, or if they're sitting right in the river.
Does this turn into a 1-3-1 for C9?
I think they're just going to go for a 4-1 and let Shiro ult in around the lane. Nice pillar.
What's the follow? Very nice pillar. Fang goes in, 2 charm on the back line. He's out. Keith gets locked as well. You're seeing Airy go very low as he puts the stopwatch on, and they're looking for No now. Damage is going into Svenskeren. His Fang is also low, and Sven drops. Here, Golden Glue is going to be the next one, and he does go down very fast. It's just a slow walk out of the fight now as FlyQuest determines whether they need more kills or not, or whether they want the base.
That's 2, though, on the jungler and the mid laner. Meteos is just distracting. That might the game. Maybe had a chance to
Oh, what a shot from Airy. Last one to take down Fang, and now it's going to be the Nexus turrets in favor of FlyQuest, weathering an early game storm against Cloud9, and they will take game 1 of the series.
Very back and forth game 1 with FlyQuest getting all the major objectives. They got the Rift Heralds, they got the first Drake, they got both Barons, and that was what led them to victory in their first quarterfinals win, was the fact that they had so much objective control in losing situations, and the fact that that happened yet again to bridge that early game deficit that they were in through the pressure that C9 had is just another testament to how on top of the teamwork part of this game FlyQuest is.
And it's actually pretty crazy how history has repeated itself here in game 1 for what we didn't think would happen last year. FlyQuest again holding steady. Great plays by C9. Obvious focus towards the bot lane. That one didn't work. The next few did. Turrets down. C9 moves the map first. Great to be in control in the early part of the game. And then it was just kind of slow from there. A little bit of misfocus on each objective that they actually won.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is C9 was the one picking all those fights and kind of dropping the ball on them. Of course, FlyQuest was interrupting them very well. Quan had some big pulverizes, but those were always on the side of FlyQuest, so even though they would win them, they couldn't really snowball the objectives, but they still picked up what they could. And so they'd grab a Mountain Drake, they'd grab a Rift Herald, and they did that enough times to the point where the game was stalled out in the mid game and did not think that the Aurelion Sol teamfight comp would be the superior one, but they found so many great engages with that Scion ult, which is usually so telegraphed. It's amazing.
I like that. You have the little guy that can go in and jump out, or you have these two guys that can stay in the fight and just
take the two guys, I guess.
Take the two guys. So for more on that FlyQuest win, let's send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Riv. And history repeating itself, maybe. 1-0 to FlyQuest Academy.
So it begins.
So it begins, the 3-0 sweep. Maybe so, of course. Yeah, I mean, pretty crazy game, though. Back and forth for a bit. Cloud9, a lot of early pressure. Some of that got turned around. We can put the team comp up here and talk about kind of the comps here. And Aurelion Sol pick, I thought was always interesting. I love seeing players bring out things that are not super common. We know A Sol's out there, but like not a lot of players bring it. I thought that was pretty good from Peek and Wolf. Unkilled game was pretty solid.
Yeah. I think that FlyQuest did draft like a lot of early tempo champions like Graves and Aurelion Sol, and even though they did draft that, they didn't really seem to be doing much in the early game. They were kind of more of reacting to Cloud9. So you would think that Cloud9 would have been in the driver's seat at that moment, but what ended up happening, they just tried to dive bot when it wasn't really a good timing, and they just got turned on. And after that, the game felt pretty back and forth.
Yeah, I thought the draft was good by Cloud9, and even the idea that they had going into it with that draft, right? You have super strong bottom lane with Zyrakan, then you have Shen ultimate. They make the first, good play down there.
Yeah.
But then they just forced it a little bit too much. They didn't have Shen up for the second time, and started to make quite a few mistakes.
Yeah, we have the replay of the second dive, the botched one, because it started out with C9 getting a 2 for 0 in bot lane. Then they have this play here where they screw it up. Alistar hits 6 as they're going. He dematerializes the melee, gets 6 so he can ult off the re-engage, like a good ult from Kai'Sa disengage, and then, yeah, it becomes a 2 for 0.
Yeah, I mean, I think here it was a good idea by C9, but all they had to do was just play it a little bit slower and probably play for the turret, and they probably would have got it for free, but they just went for too much, so.
Yeah, I don't think they tracked Meteos very well, because he was right there for the counter gank, like a second away, and then Aurelion Sol can always join super quickly, so maybe not respecting what their enemies' options were as much as tunneling on their comp has to dive bottom or whatever over and over.
Yeah, maybe they should have actually attacked the Aurelion Sol more, just go to that lane, right? He's got to shove the wave to do his job in the first place. Maybe there's room for Trundle to get in, throw up a pillar, something else. Obviously, their attempts did get punished. We have some more team fights, though, overall. I mean, it still remained close. You've got 2 good scaling marksmen on both these teams, the Kai'Sa on one side, the Xayah on the other. Like, there's a Trundle to be a tank. Like, you think these team fights would be winnable, but consistently, FlyQuest played these fights better.
Yeah, again, like, you just see C9 is taking these fights for themselves, but I mean, I guess FlyQuest is reacting really well. It kind of feels weird to me that they're not really using Ryze to side lane at all in these games, but I guess they just felt like they had the stronger team fight, so they thought they could just 5-man, but Sion had some really good ultis to turn the fights around, I think. Yeah, they just bit off too much every time, felt like.
Yeah, that's what it came down to, right? They had to put a lot of damage into the Alistar every time, so even though Quan didn't necessarily look all that impressive this game, he tanked 7,000 damage every team fight.
Yeah, and they had some really good split push options, right, with Shen and Ryze, but didn't quite stick to that one. We saw at the bottom lane, I think it was, when they grouped up once again, and FlyQuest got to make their big engage.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, especially in Academy, they kind of default to just team fighting when they're not entirely certain what to do. Like, they have the Shen and the Ryze, they have the lead, but they kind of were just like, oh, guys, I'm pretty sure we just win team fights. Let's just go 5-man something, and it didn't turn out for them well, so maybe next game, they'll be able to fix that issue, but yeah, it's a pretty good game from FlyQuest.
Yeah, we have one final replay of a late game team fight, 25 minutes in. This one gets FlyQuest the Baron, a 4 for 1. And once again, it's just same place. Riv said deja vu during the cast. And this time, Alistar gets to go in first. The Rakan tries to find something, and they just can't get through front line. It's an ulted Alistar to start every fight, and then Kai'Sa cleans up.
Yeah, they can collapse so quickly with the Kai'Sa. You can see even the Ryze, the Realm Warp came in, but 2 people were dead by the time, he Ryze.
That was Knickers MVP sign-all right there.
He had two of those, actually. Yeah. I think the one, we don't have the replay of it, but it was the bottom lane, and he sign-ults, and they like part the way to allow the sign-ult to go directly and hit Keith.
Yeah.
And Keith is basically out of the fight at that point.
Yeah, you can see the peak cold lead, right? Over 3,000 at 20-ish minutes. That's certainly not insurmountable, but yeah, it was a game where C9A was obviously doing pretty well. They had made some good plays. They got first turret. They even got some breaks for themselves. Team fights are better.
So you know these players pretty well. You talk to these players all the time. What is it about Cloud9, you know, in either pressure situations in Academy or even when they sub onto LCS stage sometimes?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I think maybe I think a lot of times they get a big advantage in the early game just through like having superior laners or just, you know, good rotations around the map. And like I said earlier, they just try to bite off a little bit too much. Like they could have just taken the bot tower, they could have just snowballed the game through bottom, but they were just trying to get a little bit too much each time. And what ends up happening is they maybe die a couple times, enemy team gets back in the game, they start panicking a little bit, like, hey guys, we're supposed to be winning this game, what's going on? And you just end up team fighting a superior team fight comp. So
what's funny with this lineup as well with Cloud9 is it's 3/5 of the like beginning of split team where they were one of the very best early game teams, but had like a 1-6
in the
run
LCS.
Anyway. Yeah, the LCS team from the beginning of summer split. So obviously something that needs to be cleaned up. I think back to when Golden Glue and Sven did play LCS more recently, and they just like completely handled TL. They had a lot of pressure onto Bjergsen and Xmithy, and that was like, oh, okay, well, Cloud9 have 7 really amazing players, but those two felt like they didn't do very much. And sure, Meteos is a very good player, and Pikawaf had done a very good job with his game as well, but like, if you can smash TL mid-jungle, like, I want to see you do that against FLYA, right? Like, that should just happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job of it pressuring mid-jungle, even though they had champions like Aurelion Sol and Graves. It was just that, again, like, they have the mid-jungle pressure, they're moving bot lane together, they have bottom pressure, they just flub the execution on the dive. So I think if they can clean up that, it should be a lot easier time for them, but obviously, they've struggled with it in the past. They got 3-0 last split, so
are you super worried now? Like if you're on this team still, right? If you're actually still in on the C9 side, are you like, is it just happening, or are you gonna be able to push past it?
I don't know. They're probably still feeling fine. I mean, obviously it's in the back of their heads. Like if you got 3-0 by this team and you lose the first game and you're the favorites again, like you're getting deja vu over and over again. But I'm sure since every series has been a best of 5 so far, I have a feeling that this one might as well be one, just by the way things are going.
Okay.
So
a 15-game playoff and 5 matches. We'll see if we make it to 20. Yeah. We've got more games coming up after the break. Cloud9 versus FlyQuest Academy continues in just a moment.
Oh, there's a pulverize. The CC's down for Quan. Now he can easily go for Airy, the AD carry. Quan's trying to get himself to safety as Snow and Shiro are going to be coming into the fight. Fang, one last shot. Oh, Stand United keeps him alive. As FlyQuest tries to come down here to counterattack this, Fang gets knocked out. Quan throwing down the ultimate as Airy stays alive, and this can go bad for Cloud9. FlyQuest starts to turn the tables. Svenskeren in the hot pot now, and he gets taken down. Stunned up, seeing stars, also gets hit with Killer Instinct, gonna have to drop back in, flats it in, and he gets the Realm Warp out! Deja vu, same spot for this fight. It's gonna be Quan again in the same spot. Fang tries to play his cards again the same, but it's so red by FlyQuest this time around. Keith's over the wall, and he's followed by Pekawolf. The last few stars clock him in the side of the head. Whoa.
Nice pillar.
What's the follow? Very nice pillar. Fang goes in. 2 charm on the back line. He's out. Keith gets locked as well. You're seeing Airy go very low as he puts the stopwatch on, and they're looking for no now. Damage is going into Svenskeren. His Fang is also low, and Sven drops. Golden Glue's going to be the next one, and he does go down very fast.